required on it. So 10 cents, put it on your door. I know that's a requirement that's mandated by the governor. And I mean, he enacted the Department of Health to go through and start enforcing that stuff. So, I mean, a 10-cent piece of paper is a lot better than a $5,000 to $10,000 fine from the Department of Health, or not being able to get a grant.
Valerie said they really didn't have the manpower to go around and do that and follow up on all the complaints getting. And I just asked her. I said, basically, what can we do to support you? Because like Spencer's right, it does fall on the health department to go around and educate and kind of look at those things. But I just thought, it might just put a little more onus on the business owners. Post the sign if you want the money, for the small business grant. It's a small thing to do.
I think if they want money from a government entity, which obviously we are, we need to follow the guidelines with the posting fees. It's no different than getting another part of a grant application from any other government.
And we could ask them if the council wishes to include a photograph with their application of their front door with the sign posted.
And remain posted and remain.
Yeah, and then we'd have to verify it, obviously.
I'd be happy to walk around. I mean, it's serious. We're looking at trying to keep school open, trying to keep kids in school, and it's a little thing. It's a little thing that can make a big difference. Aaron Jubrell just chimed in with a comment. I appreciate that. It's not a daunting thing to do. It's common sense and it's common courtesy. You're right. Thank you, Aaron. That's just my thought on it, and I'd like to see that added to the application as a requirement.
So, I guess, are we ready to consider passing the resolution? I'm not sure what changes, Mackenzie, we may need to discuss whether there are actual changes to the resolution that are needed. Did you hear any? You're muted, Mackenzie.
Sorry. I can't think of anything that needs changed, maybe with the exception of if you're wanting to specifically say the sign needs to be posted. That seems to be the one that needs to be, only one I know that needs to be in writing so far.
Well, would that be in the application, or does that need to be a part of the resolution? I mean, we're looking now at passing
the application, not the resolution.
Okay.
I think the resolution is, intentionally general to give the council power. I think it's the application we're discussing that would need to be more specific.
There's a question via chat from the Mendel's regarding whether their gym would qualify. It's outside of the city limits.
Feel like we stay with us. Yeah, we addressed that last time. Yeah.
The application states that the business has to be within the city limits.
Is the county doing anything that could help businesses outside of city limits?
Not for sure.
Maybe we could encourage those businesses that are outside city limits seeking some assistance to go to council, or we could maybe even put a bug in their ear that this could be something that they could consider at a county level.
Are we ready to vote on the resolution, council?
Yeah.
Do that by roll call then.
Aye.
Sandy Flora,
Aye.
Mike Isley,
Aye.
Spencer Kingery,
Aye.
Cody Nelson,
Aye.
carries. And I will send out that application with the changes that we discussed, and if there are additional changes to that, let me know, and we'll get that out. The goal will be to get that out by the end of this week or first part of next week. And then, Gail, I assume that you'll try to set up a workshop to talk about the rubric with the council, is that correct?
You'll need to call that work
Pardon me?
session. I'll get some dates from them, but then you'll need to actually call the work session. I'll let you know what dates are available for the council.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, and then you'll take care of the public hearing notification for the
Yes.
additional appropriation. Okay, thank you.
Just write a note on that. Okay. The next order of business is proposed resolution 2020-21 regarding reimbursement of public health and public safety payroll costs with CARES Act funding. The city of Delphi was allocated $93,794 from the coronavirus relief fund. The city has submitted its application for reimbursement utilizing police department payroll. And because we are using payroll reimbursement, the state requires a resolution from council authorizing that application for reimbursement. Is there a motion to pass resolution 2020-21?
I move that we pass resolution 2020-21.
Is there a second?
Second.
So was that from you, Mike?
Yes.
Is there a discussion?
I just have a quick question. Is the payroll expenditure going to cover the whole 93,000 plus?
Yes.
Okay. And I know that Shane, former mayor, has already did the accreditation back in July. So have the documentations been sent, or will they be sent before the end of this year to get this to IFA?
It has been sent to IFA.
Okay, thank you.
Leanne has submitted it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Anita,
Yes.
if I can just state this too, before I submitted it, I sent it over to Mike Fincher and had him look at everything, we discussed everything on the phone. So, it has been submitted and I got an email back that it was received and accepted.
Thank you, Leanne.
Any further discussion? By roll call, those in favor, Gail Coner,
Aye.
Sandy Flora,
Aye.
Mike Isley,
Aye.
Spencer Kingery,
Aye.
Cody Nelson.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. The reimbursement funds, the $93,794 that were eligible to receive for reimbursement must be spent by the end of the year. The department heads are putting together priority lists and getting quotes for items to be presented to the next Board of Works meeting on the 21st. We're focusing on items that relate to emergency management. For example, the police car that was planned for next year, we're trying to push that into this year's funding using the reimbursement. Backup generators for a wastewater lift station that, particularly the one on Highway 421, that if power goes out, it would automatically kick on and make sure that we aren't creating a bad problem. Respirators for the police department, I think, was on the list. Some a backup radio, and I believe a few other items for the city. we don't have a defibrillator in the building, so we're thinking about putting that on the list. So there are items of that sort that the individual departments are submitting and getting estimates for, and we'll put our heads together before the next Board of Works meeting and come up with the items that are most required, most needed, and submit that for approval at Board of Works.
So the money in this CARES Act funding, this reimbursement, everything that's, all the documentation that's been in by the end of the year has to be for something that's already been purchased, correct?
No.
Yes.
No,
Leanne?
Yes,
no.
Yep.
I thought you did.
Okay, I thought according to the webinar that AIM put out in October, it was pretty specific that you're sending in documentation now of purchase orders, not purchase orders, but anything that's already been expended for the 2020 year to qualify for this.
That was for reimbursement, Gail. So we use the payroll, the police payroll, to submit for reimbursement. So those funds that we get reimbursed now must be spent by the end of the year on, we're thinking, on something that relates to emergency management. Other communities are spending it on virtually anything. Camden has bought carpet for one of their buildings. We understand.
Mike said that it has really opened up. They were extremely strict right at first, but now it's
Right.
a free game.
Yeah. Okay. So you're looking at using the reimbursement funds to purchase those things that you were talking about?
Yes, correct.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't catch that, thank you.
Okay, the next item of agenda is the consideration of legislation regarding local enforcement of the face covering mandate. Since we do not have specific legislation or resolution to consider, I would ask that the council suspend the rules so that we might discuss this topic without that specific ordinance or resolution on the table. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
I'm going to interrupt and ask for a point of information here. What rule are you requesting being suspended?
The rule that we need to have a ordinance or resolution on the table for discussion.
Is that an ordinance or resolution for the city of Delphi?
I believe it's Roberts, but I don't think there is a specific ordinance in the city.
Okay, I'm gonna just share with you what Eric Burns said so that this will be clear for future. You can have discussions under new business without having to do any suspension of rules unless you actually have a rule on the books that requires you to suspend the rule to have a discussion. I'm going to take exception a little bit here because I've asked former Mayor Evans and also Mayor Whirling about discussions in the past so that we could discuss topics without having to have legislation on the table. And it kind of grates on me tonight that this is coming up, and I'm thankful it is, but we can have a discussion as members of the council. We can also have input as to what goes on the agenda. If there is something that we feel needs to be legislated at some point, we can discuss that prior to legislation. I've been told by both administrations that I have to have legislation presented and approved, basically having permission before these discussions can come up. And I think it's time for the council to remember we're the elected officials. This is our meeting, and if we want to have a discussion, we have the right to do so. We don't have to suspend any rules. We just have to have it on the agenda. So I'm going to say my piece because I'm kind of tired of being told that it has to be a certain way when it really doesn't. And I'll apologize to the council for spending some money to contact the attorney to get his way in on this. But the way it is, we can have a discussion without suspending any rules, without having anybody permission to put it on the agenda because we are the elected officials.
May we get back to the topic at hand?
Absolutely.
Is there discussion on the topic of the mask mandate and whether or not the council would wish to consider legislation for enforcement of the mandate?
No legislation, no enforcement. That's my opinion.
Spencer, you got covered up.
Oh, sorry. I said I don't want to make any legislation or enforcement for a mask mandate.
I concur.
I do not either. This is Mike. I do not either.
I believe 3 out of 5 have indicated that they do not wish to consider it.
I could hear Spencer and I could hear Mike. I could not hear Gail.
I concurred with Spencer.
You
that-
concur. Okay.
Do either Sandy or Cody Nelson wish to weigh in?
Did we lose
I
Cody?
don't, can we enforce it even if we wanted to? It's just a mandate from the governor, right?
Actually, as a council, we have the ability to give the mayor, as the enforcing authority, the authority to, yes, have fines. We do have the authority to do that, to give her the authority, which would trickle down through the police department, and then it would fall on them to go out and actually cite people and fine people.
You know, I talked to Brooke McCain earlier about this, and he said that when they would get involved is when his understanding is, say I go out here to the hardware store who has a sign on their door, facial mask required. I go in there without my mask. They say, put your mask on or leave. I say, I'm not leaving. I'm not putting it on. I'm doing my business. They can call the police at that point. The police will come out and tell me, Spencer, correct me if I'm wrong, but the police will come out and say, this is what he said to do, either do it or leave, and if I do not leave, I can get arrested or whatever for trespassing.
Brooke McCain is on the call, so
Yes.
if you wish for Brooke to
Oh, that's right.
on that, he is capable of doing it.
Yes,
He's able
and
to, I should say.
Yeah, that,
so, go ahead, Brooke.
that's how we've always have taken the avenue when this first started. And that's our avenue of responding to this is if someone comes into a business, it's kind of like the old no shoes, no shirt, no service. They don't have their mask on. They tell them you have two choices. Either A, put your mask on properly and you can conduct business, or if you choose not to, then you need to leave. If they refuse to leave and become argumentative, then they can contact us and we will remove them from the store, because thus then they're trespassing and we already have laws on the books to handle it.
I would just say that I am pretty well against the city making any kind of motion towards enforcement of like Governor Holcomb's thing. I think it's pretty well defined that a business can, determine whether or not people are allowed in their store with or without a mask. I'm okay with the current process that it sounds like Mr. McCain is using. I don't see any further need. Businesses need to choose whether they think enforcement is a priority to them or not, and the state can handle that.
Yeah, it sounds like the consensus is that there is no need for further resolution or ordinance for enforcement. So the last item on the agenda is to set the date for the year-end transfers and encumbrances, and that would be during that last week of the month, which begins on the 28th, which is a Monday, 29th, which is Tuesday. Do you have your calendars with you?
Yes.
Okay.
We do it the 30th, that Wednesday. Would that be okay?
Is that too late, Leanne?
Payroll,
Oh yeah, payroll's on the 30th.
that's all right though. We can work around it. Yeah, that's fine.
Does that give you time, Leanne, to get the documentation that you need into Keystone?
Yeah.
If you need more time, Leanne, we can do Monday or Tuesday if absolutely needed, or I can. It's just I'm scheduled to work Monday and Tuesday of that week.
What's the rest of the council's pleasure?
Well, go ahead and make a date. I'm not sure of my schedule that week. If I'll be here, I'll make it. I will let you know though, okay? So schedule it and I'll see what I can do.
And my schedule's fine.
Any day that week's good for me.
So the 30th works for everyone except those who are not certain what their schedule is right now. Cody, is that all right with you?
Yeah, I tentatively agree.
Okay. We will set that for Wednesday, December 30th. And I just have a couple of announcements here. The governor will announce tomorrow morning the awards for the Community Crossings grant. We submitted an application back in October for several project areas, including reconstruction of the Tally Ho area to address some drainage issues, curbs and sidewalks and pavement on North Wilson, and micro-surfacing on Armory Road and a number of other streets. So we'll find out tomorrow whether or not we receive funding in this round. Okra has just announced phase 3 of CARES Act funding. Applications due mid-January. Not sure what all of the eligibility or what the funds can be used for. I do know that we'll be eligible to apply even though we've received grants. So there is a webinar on that on Wednesday, which I plan to attend. I think all of you were in on the Board of Works where we talked about the installation of a voice over internet protocol.
Mm-hmm.
That should be occurring either yet this month or very early in January. And just a reminder that at the January meeting, the council will elect the president pro tempore, appoint a council representative to Area Plan Commission, appoint a representative to the Northwest Solid Waste District, to representative to the Carroll County Administrative Transportation Committee, and 2 representatives to the Delphi Redevelopment Commission. And next would be comments or requests from council. President Pro Tem Connor.
None, thank you.
Councilperson Flora.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Councilperson Isley.
Yes, I have something somebody mentioned to me a week or two ago. We have a wonderful city park, Riley Park down there, except for right now with all the mud and everything, but normally it's a wonderful, nice looking park. What do you guys think of Christmas decorations? Monticello does it. It's small scale, but it's nice. Frankfurt's up there by the golf course, their park. Why could we not decorate Riley Park up and people could drive through? You could have a donation box to help cover electricity and stuff, have businesses involved, let them take somebody do the gazebo, somebody do the shelter, somebody do this. And the person that brought this idea to me would be willing to help get it going. They don't want to be in charge of it, and I'll keep that name to myself at the moment. What's everybody think of that?
Mike, could I interject here?
Yeah.
The Parks and Recreation Advisory Board is getting information from citizens as to what they would like to see in the parks, and this is an idea that has come up. So
good.
I think it would be prudent to have this perhaps under the aegis of that Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and I know this is one of the items that they are considering.
And do we know who's in charge of that so I can contact them?
I can send you that information. Lisa Perry is the
Okay.
president.
yeah, if you could send that to me, that would be great, and I could talk to them. Because I think that, Riley Park's really nice, and it's right there on the highway. Everybody would see it driving by. You'd have people going through. Spencer and Cody could take turns dressing up as Santa Claus. Hey. So, no, but I think that would, we've got a nice town. Let's
I
show
don't think
some
it
of it
was
off.
going to be something for this year. I think the city.
Yeah. And we got a year to think. Anyway, I'll talk to the park people. I think that'd be a good idea, though. That's all I have.
Councilperson Kingery,
I got nothing else.
Councilperson Nelson,
I have nothing.
Clerk Treasurer Aldrich.
Yes, I'm gonna remind you guys that you've got, check stubs in here for a process. You also, have to stop in. I will print them off, the resolutions and ordinance, so that you may sign them. I think, are we going back to them signing them, Anita, or are you just gonna do it you and me and the test?
It's the way that they are presently worded, Leanne, is just with me doing it and you attesting.
All right. And Gail, you have a letter in here. I will give it to Marilyn. She'll have it up front. She can slide it through the glass window. And it's from the state of Indiana, the Department of Environmental Management. So I will put it up front for you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Any public comments?
Can I ask something before you go to public comment? Sorry. Mayor and council, would there be any advantage to me uploading the resolutions or ordinances and sending them out with our electronic signature program?
No, because at this point, the way we set it up under the previous administration and the way it's worded, our mayor signs it and it's attested to. So I'll print them off right here and she'll sign them, and then Marilyn downloads them to our website.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make it known that that's available if it's helpful for anyone.
What we may wish to do, Mackenzie and you and I can talk about this, is to make sure that we basically get the code up to date for the first of next year.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else? I couldn't hear if there was, or if that was just someone saying, oh good, we're almost there. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion to adjourn for the evening.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, Gail?
Aye.
Sandy Flora?
Aye.
Mike Isley?
Aye.
Spencer Kingery?
Aye.
Cody Nelson?
Aye.
Thank you all. Meeting is adjourned at 7:31 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.